it's a situation where a man ran into a tree. It appears he was trying to avoid hitting a dog. At that point in time, he lost control of his vehicle and struck a tree.
So kind of take me through the events of what your understanding is.
I don't know all the events of the incident. I do know what you called and told me about, so I kind of got briefed up on that there was an animal injured in the process, and we never want to see an animal injured, first and foremost. No one does. I think we have the most compassion, but we also have to worry about public safety in every scenario. And you have an injured animal they're often more dangerous when they're injured than they are when they're fine and they're up and ambulatory. And so we have to be very concerned in these type of situations.
In this particular situation, the homeowner had already was sitting by the dog and comforting the dog and petting it and calming it down, and your officers were okay with that. They witnessed this, and then all of a sudden one of them came back and said, you need to get away from the dog. So obviously the dog wasn't aggressive. It was being okay.
I think the officer must have had some reason for that, because of concern that things may change or the animal being injured could change. I mean, me personally, I've tried to help an animal that was injured and I've gotten bit, and it's frightening. It's unfortunate. You want to do the right thing, you want to help, but also you have to be considerate about the situation that you could be injured, that the person could be injured. So it's always about the safety of that individual. It's not trying to be cruel to the animal or cruel to the individual, but it's really, what's the safest scenario here? It's best that we get the animal control people in there, let them do what they do as experts, and let them take the actions.
What is department policy in this type of situation?
Contact animal control, who are the experts in handling injured animals, and let them do that. We are not trained in that, nor are the citizens. We have situations where the citizens can be injured, can be bit in a scenario like this, so we're very cautious that we take care of everybody involved. Hopefully animal control can get there, they can render aid, they can take the appropriate measures to get the animal as much help as they can.
Is there anything in the policy about when a neighbor wants to render aid?
Our control, you can't predict what an animal is going to do. I can't, none of us can early on. It's some of those situations, it's an unknown. So you kind of act toward the unknown. Do what you can do to say, you know what, we've got to make sure that everybody comes out of this safe. Get the dog to the animal hospital, to the vet, get them as much help as you can, but also keep people back so that no one gets hurt or bit or injured.
So is there anything specifically in the policy that speaks to a situation like this?
I don't believe there is. It says basically our general rule is contact animal control, let them do what they do. We believe let experts do what they know how to do, opposed to us trying to do it or allowing this community to come in and get involved. It's a situation where you don't know how an animal is going to take. It may be fine now, and all of a sudden starts getting into more pain, or things may change, and they may react differently. So you're really trying to say, okay, how do I protect the public first and foremost here? How do I get the animal the aid they need? And hopefully by calling animal control, who are experts in this matter, they can come in and they can render the proper aid for the animal. And then once that's done, then whoever needs else gets to get involved, they can do that with animal control's help, who knows how to handle these kind of scenarios.
So the officers on scene more or less have to use discretion.
We have to, discretion is generally going to lean toward getting the animal the proper help and protecting the public, because an injured animal is not the same as an animal that's, the normal dog that may come and be friendly and fine. But when he's injured, it's a different scenario.
Would you be willing to watch the video?
I don't have time right now. I wouldn't mind watching it with you, but like I said, I don't know. In any case, we're always going to just defer to animal control and their knowledge, because we're not experts in that area. But what we will do is say, how do we keep everybody safe? Our goal is to keep everybody safe in that scenario.
But until you've seen the video, how can you answer the question of whether the correct discretion was used by officers?
Well, I'm not going to second guess the officers that I wasn't there with them, nor was anybody else to say what all transpired around it. Obviously, there's a video, and I appreciate that it's there, and I appreciate the concern of the community, obviously. But like I said, our biggest thing we want to do is always say, how do we protect that animal? How do we protect the community? And what should we do? That's generally the policy we work off of.
But the animal laying in the street for 2 hours, is that protecting the animal?
If we move him and it does more harm, that's just like a person. We're not the best people to move a person, because by moving them, we may do more harm. So somebody comes with a backboard, they take the appropriate care, and they move that person. We don't move them. We wouldn't let the citizen come move them, because they could do more harm by moving them than letting the people who know what they're doing do it.
This may be a question for animal control, but it was 10 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock when they might have gotten the first call. Can you talk to...
I can't speak to the time zone. I can't. That's not...
No. Their staffing. I mean, this guy might have been...
I can't talk about their staffing. That's not my... That's their expertise. Ours is basically, how do we keep everybody safe? Our goal is that anybody that was there remains safe. Obviously, the person who was injured in the car, and we had a crime scene. I mean, an accident scene there. So we had to take that into consideration too. What we let come through the area, that kind of thing.
Would you be willing? I mean, is there a time that we can sit down with you? And
I'm not an expert at the video anyway. I mean, I can look at it and say, and I'm not going to sit back and say, you know, if they want to have a complaint they want to lodge, we're definitely willing to look at that. I mean, we're not going to avoid and say, hey, you know, we did everything right. We're always willing to learn. So if there's something we could be learned from this, we'll gladly do that. We'll gladly take the time, and you know, if somebody has a complaint or an issue or concern, we're more than happy to listen.
Okay.
Okay.
Because, yeah, I mean, I think that until like you've seen
what
happened, we have it on camera.
Right. Well, they can bring it forth. Well, they can bring it forth to us, and we can look at it. I mean, obviously, we stayed with the animal the whole time. The police did until animal control got there. We stayed there for the full 2 hours, so we know how long it took. We knew what was going on. We didn't leave the animal or abandon him. We stayed there, blocked traffic, made sure the animal was safe and was okay and not going to get injured anymore. And those are the steps we took. And we let the experts come and do what they had to do from there.
Okay. So, but will you sit down with us and watch the video?
What about, I'm not an expert on it, so I can look at it, but all it's going to be is me looking at a video.
Is there somebody that?
Well, if they have a complaint, if somebody has a complaint in the community, we'll sit down with them and we'll look at it. I mean, if there's someone, if the owner of the dog or someone wants to come talk with us, we'll gladly talk with them.
Well, I think the neighbor was pretty concerned.
Well, have the neighbor come and talk with us. We'll speak with them. Sure. Yeah, we don't, like I said, we're more than happy if the citizens want to come say, hey, you know, this is, we just want to question your policy or talk about it, we can do that. Yeah, so like I said, I think in terms of me looking at it, I can tell you what we do, what our normal policy is, how we react, is to get the experts out there. We're not experts. And I think we want to make sure that the right person's there. If you were injured, I wouldn't let somebody move you. There's no way. Your back they could move you, and then all of a sudden you're paralyzed.
Right. I would also hope that I wouldn't lay in the street for 2 hours.
I would hope you wouldn't either, but that's, you know, I would hope my dog wouldn't lay in the street for 2 hours. I can't speak to the timeline on that. I don't know. But obviously, I have to defer to someone else who that's their agency, and you have to ask them about that.
Right. I think that the thing that we just had in question was because, you know, when police got there, the guy was already with the animal. And if you did see the video, you would see the animal was...
I have a lab too, I know.
Gasping, just on its last, you know, gasping for air. It appeared to maybe have a broken neck or something, and I think that it was just strange that the officers were okay with him comforting it and giving it water.
And then somebody else said, you know what, we've got an issue here. We're concerned for your safety, liability, all these things that come into play. So let's go ahead and back off of that, because realistically, you've come for, let's move back and let's wait till animal control's here, can get here and take the appropriate steps. And that's basically trying to be reasonable. I wouldn't let somebody come and just move you. I wouldn't let somebody, you know, we want to basically back up. Everybody back up. Let's let this go. Let them come in, do what they need to do to take care of the animal. So it's about, there is care and concern for the animal.
Do you guys see this with these types of situations with animal control at response times being this long?
I don't know. I couldn't answer that for you. I've never looked at their response times. You have to ask them about that. Obviously, our concern is basically that no one gets injured, no one gets hurt, that the dog is protected, that he's not in a place where he's going to suffer any more injury, which was what we did. We backed off, chilled with the dog, as you saw, I'm sure, and basically wait for the animal control to get there. I can't speak to how long it takes, but whatever long it takes, we stayed with them to make sure that he was, you know, okay.